All right, folks. So originally I wanted to use a program called NoteFlight, but unfortunately that was not working out. So we're going to have to go back to doing this composition the old-fashioned way. So what you're going to need is something to write with and something to write on. So we're going to go back to kind of the old school way, like I said. So first thing to do is just remember, we are going to be using a few different types of notes here. So the first one that we're going to use is our half note. Remember that our half note is that open circle just like that, and it equals 2 beats. Okay? The next one that we have is a quarter note, which is a filled in circle with the stem. That equals 1 beat. We have a pair of eighth notes, which are 2 filled in circles that are attached with a bracket, just like that, and they also equal 1 beat. Now, yes, there are 2 notes here, but that does not equal more than 1 beat. Eighth notes only receive 1 beat. So the last thing that we need is our quarter rest, which if we draw a Z and a C, that's going to be just fine, and that equals 1 beat as well. So now that we have those notes that we remember what we're going to do, we are going to be creating our own composition. So the first thing that you need to do to create a composition is you need to draw your time signature. So over there on the left-hand side of the page, you're going to draw 2 4s right on top of one another. Okay? So those 4s are your time signature, and that means that we're going to have 4 beats in each measure. So the next thing that we're going to do is start adding beats to our measure in order to create our song. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick one of those 4 rhythms. So you can pick any one that you want to right now because you're starting from scratch. Now if you want to draw that line for the percussion staff like I talked about in the video, that's fine. The video does make reference, by the way, to using NoteFlight. We're just going to ignore that part. The video itself is still good, the information is still good, but like I said, we're just not using that program. So here we go. We're going to choose one of those. I'm going to choose, for example, a quarter note to start us off. So I'm going to draw my quarter note right there next to my time signature. Now that is 1 beat, so that means that if I have 4 beats there and I've used one of them, I have 3 beats remaining inside my measure. Easy enough. So the next one, I'm going to choose another note. I think I'm going to choose a half note this time. So I'm going to draw that half note, and then I'm going to do a little bit of math. 2 for the half note plus 1 for the quarter note equals 3. Then when you have 3 beats in your measure, if you take 4 minus 3, that means you only have space for 1 more beat. You cannot use another half note. That means that you need to pick one of those other types of rhythms that has less than 2 beats. Okay? So I think I want to draw a pair of eighth notes. So I'm going to draw my pair of eighth notes and check my work. So I've got 1 for the quarter note, 2 for the half note, and 1 for my pair of eighth notes. 1 plus 2 plus 1 equals 4. And that matches my time signature, so that means I'm done with that measure. Now, I draw a bar line, because bar lines separate music into measures, and I'm going to completely repeat the whole process. So that means I'm going to start back at the beginning. I have 4 beats left to use, and I can use any of those notes that I want to. Now, it does not have to look exactly the same. When I say repeat the process, I mean the way that you do it, not the actual product you get, but just the way that you did it. So I'm going to start this one with a pair of eighth notes. So I've got my 1 beat for those. I think I'm going to draw a quarter rest next, and I'm keeping track in my head here, so that's 1 plus 1. I've got 2 beats. I think I want a quarter note this time. And now I think I'm going to use another pair of eighth notes. There's no rule that says I can't use the same rhythm in the same measure 2 different times. So now I check myself. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. We've got 4 beats. Now, like I mentioned in the video, I have more than 4 notes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes. But I only have 4 beats because those eighth notes, that pair of eighth notes, only gets that 1 beat. So now that I'm done with that measure, I'm going to draw another bar line, and I'm going to continue doing that. We want to make a grand total of 8 measures, okay? So that's what we're going to be working towards. We want to do this same process here 8 times, All right, friends? So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and I will be glad to help you with that. But otherwise, let's go ahead and get working on our composition.